Oh, hello, Scorpio rising, Scorpio energy. You know, when you come to my channel and we watch the videos, when I do this, I'm always doing it extra special for you all because I got a connection to you. Because there's that thing, I see you, I see right in you. Just like how you normally are looking and peering into people's worlds right through their eyes and you're stunning them and they're afraid and they run away. See, I don't do that. See, I'm the opposite. I'm going to look at you and you're not going to act stunned, but I know you are sometimes when I talk to you because I go right in there and you don't walk away. You actually like it, right? So here I am looking right into you with my message for April for you, my Scorpio risings. It starts off here in the beginning of the week with the planet Mercury that deals with ideas, thoughts, how you formulate them, how you communicate, entering the sign of Earth grounded Taurus. What does this mean for you? It falls into your relationship house. There you go again. Since the end of 2021, where these eclipses have been happening in the Scorpio Taurus realm, here we are, another chapter, another planet to accentuate for you to deal with of how you pursue, how you engage, how you communicate in relationships. And we start off the month here with this, and it's huge. It doesn't seem huge, but it will be huge by the time I get into the end of this video. When we get to April 5th, there's a major full moon that happens in the sign of Libra. This is huge because it's not only a full moon where the moon exposes the shadows, the light exposes the shadows, which you just have a penchant for, by the way, because in general, you're suspicious and investigative. And when you get obsessed about something, you're going to go all the way and you're going to go to the shadows even to know what the hell's going on over there. Okay. So you kind of like this stuff. Where it happens in your chart, though, is a very sometimes it's a rehabilitative place. It's a quiet place. It's a place where things are unseen. Traditionally, the 12th house has to deal with like the cave and the temple one goes to rehabilitate themselves. There are places where one goes to heal. A lot of times wounds show up there too, and that's why we need to find those quiet places to rehabilitate themselves. In the modern world, there are facilities and situations and places where one goes to rehabilitate themselves. It happens from like institutions to retreat centers to prisons to all types of stuff like that. Now, this full moon is exposing that area here and how you relate to that within yourself. And there's something here for you to find that it's exposing a new moon. On the opposite side of the chart, though, that's connected to this is your daily regimen. It's the systems that you use every day to get through life. And there's a story that's been going on there here since it's for the last year, but really since the beginning of 2023 with Jupiter being in Aries, the planet, the asteroid, the wounded healer, Chiron being in Aries, and certain wounds exposed in your daily regimens. You have a tendency, Scorpio rising, Scorpios, to get on a path sometimes of doing something all the way from beginning to end. Has the habits that you have, are they that you take all the way to the end and over the cliff sometimes? Has it been detrimental for you? Is it healthy for you? And this is something I want you to think about. I want to think about your mental health, and I want to think about your body and system. Is it performing and running on all cylinders? And this full moon kind of exposes both sides, and they're intertwined. They're not separate. So I want you to sit on it. And if you notice certain habits that you have, daily regimented things that aren't flowing and certain things that you need to let go of and bring in something new so it flows correctly, this is the time to do it with this full moon, and it will show itself. There is a wound here. There is something for you to take and to put back together for yourself in the puzzle that is your body and how you relate to your health and to what your temple is and where you go rehabilitate yourself. And I want you to go for it. Don't want to be afraid. Most of you aren't afraid. You usually are going for it. But when it comes to old habits, they die hard, don't they? I want you to get through it. This doesn't really go away on this full moon because when we go on the 10th, April 10th, planet Venus, the feminine, rules relationships, money, how we acquire resources. It enters the sign of Gemini, and it enters the part of your world that deals with other people's resources and your connection to them. It also deals with intimacy and how you connect with others. And sometimes through intimacy and through trust, you are intertwined and enmeshed in stories where sometimes resources are shared, or you're connected to other people's resources, or at the will of other people's resources, vice versa. So that's kind of a little theme here too, with Venus entering the sign of Gemini in that part of your chart. But when we get to April 19th, which is 2 weeks after this full moon I talked about in Libra. 2 weeks after is the new moon, and it happens in the sign of Aries, and it's a solar eclipse. This is a major fundamental point in the story here, and it's connected to the full moon I talked about earlier. It's connected to your daily regimens. It's connected to the pets that you have at home, the little things that make your world spin, that make the world spin. But I'm going to focus on your body and your health and the system again, and your regimented structure that needs a little bit of revamping. And this eclipse that happens there is going to expose something. It's going to show you something there. It started 2 weeks ago with that full moon, and it continues here. And there's something that you need to take, use, bring into your world, and initiate into your system, which is going to affect your temple, your mental health, and how you rejuvenate yourself. But you need structure and regimen to do this. I'm harping on this with you because sometimes y'all Scorpio risings get caught up in something and thrown off, and you go to, you would say, alternative dark places, and that's fine. You could swim in those areas, but I want you to come back, and I want you to get into your body, and I want you to figure out that system and how you deal with things every day, day by day. By doing that, you set yourself up for something bigger down the line. Now, after the solar eclipse happens, the next day on the 20th, the Taurus birthday starts. So we know we're really kicking into spring in the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere, fall's really coming. You're seeing the leaves and the change color. It's all beautiful, isn't it? But then after the 20th, we get to the 21st, and we go back to how I started this video with the planet Mercury, who's now been in the sign of Taurus now for like 3 weeks here now, and you've been communicating, and there's been certain types of hopefully calm conversations that have been happening in your relationship realm. And it's not just intimate relationships, how you relate to yourself first, and then how you relate to the rest of the world. Usually it's happening through other human beings. So you're going to pay attention to the conversations you've had for the first 3 weeks of April, because when the 21st comes, Mercury is going to start to go backwards, and they call this a Mercury retrograde. And then it goes backwards for 3 weeks, and then we get to like May 15th, and then we start to move forward. So it's a long conversation, basically, I'm telling you, that's happening in your relationship house. It's basically 2 months, all of April and into May. There's going to be conversations, and real ones, practical ones. It's going to demand practicality, a type of building up of words that's very clear and simple and not complicated. And sometimes you Scorpio risings, you want to get deep, or things can get caustic with words and all that because you're Mars ruled. But we want to take a slow approach during the Mercury retrograde, and I want you to gather your thoughts, and I want you to be real with them. Even if you have to journal, talk to yourself, go find someone neutral to talk to you so you can gather those things. We want that to happen, because during retrogrades, it's all about a reviewing and reclaiming process. And in this case, it has to do with how you're communicating with others in the world. And we don't want to mess around here. And you usually don't want to mess around, but I'm going to call you out here. Sometimes you don't want to get caught up in the power play manipulation game in relationships. And I think this has been exposed in your life since the end of 2021, with Uranus being in your relationship house, with Venus just being there all for the month of March, the eclipses that have happened that brought major things into your world of like how you deal with yourself in relationships. And there was no way, you've been exposed. Even people outside of you have probably seen what you would consider a weakness or a wound. You have had it front and center in your world. So let's stop messing around. So when it comes to start to communicating, I know you're going to be real and truthful, but you also have to accept the real and the truth of someone else or some other situation on the outside of you. And I'm trying to, in the end, do this in a positive, loving way. And that's what I want you to think about, is like to be real and to get past what power struggles are and manipulation is, whether you're doing it or someone's doing it to you. Can you get past that? Can you get to a place of real talk? Well, you're going to have examples of this during the Mercury retrograde, and there's going to be times where it doesn't flow. But during retrogrades, we like these situations because the reason is we can go back, we can review, relook, and reclaim the power of wherever Mercury is going retrograde. In this case, your relationship house. And then it's there for you to find nuggets and pieces of gold. So when it starts to move forward and go forward into May, you're going to be like clear in what you have to say. And when it comes to your relationships, you're going to feel more grounded. You're going to be happy that you spoke the truth, or other people spoke truth to you and you listened, because then you got to a great place together. With sudden I got cut off, Scorpio risings. I ended with the word with, and then I'm editing this second part to the video. You guys are getting the longest video of all the 12 signs, by the way. I find it interesting that I was going off on a rant about communicating, and all of a sudden my video got cut off. That's an example of a Mercury retrograde thing happening in Taurus in your relationship house, where you could be vibing and you were listening to me, and then something comes in and cuts it off. And then you got to like regroup and come back and make sure, like, oh, what were we talking about? Can we reestablish the intimacy and connection that we had in that conversation? And that is my attempt and example right now. So I'll end it with that. That's your month of April, but it really goes into May. You're getting a little getting 5 more minutes than all the other signs, because I added this second video to this, edited, because this leads up to a major eclipse that's going to happen in the beginning of May. I know, another one, right? You have one more to deal with in the fall, another big one that deals in the Scorpio Taurus realm. But this one in May is going to be tied in all the way back to last November, and what was going on in your life in the relationship world and how you were standing in relationship to yourself. You're getting bonus information for me. Why? Because I have an affinity for you all, because I have you all in my life, and plus I can see you and you are exposed. And that is a good thing, because in the end, you want to be seen and you want to feel secure and in a trusted place, because in that place, you and I could go deep and get to the root of it all and live and stand in the edge and rush of life, all or nothing, 100%, right? That's your little bonus. If you like who I am, what I do, you've never been here before, Scorpio Rising, you hit the subscribe button. You send me an email. You get a reading from me. Make a comment. Share the video. I am Nicolas Polymonakos, a.k.a. Sparkles of Gold, and I'll see you on the next video.